listen, I can't fathom the amount of money that you have lost, but also what you have won.
Yeah.
So, how do you deal with that? I think your biggest loss was what?
700 grand in a day. Yeah,
Gosh.
700 grand in one single day.
This guest is a very close friend, and we're going to have some really interesting conversations. So I want to introduce Alex Sante. I always get your last name wrong, bro. I don't know what it is, bro. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Alex Sante?
Yeah.
Alex Sante, man. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a while.
Yeah,
It's been
man.
a minute.
Yes, man. This guy lives in my heart, man. I don't know what it is, man. You're I'm gonna call you the problem child, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
But your own people.
Yeah, but there's something about you, man, that calls my attention, man, and is the care that you have for other people, man. I see the people in your circle, the people that work with you, and I just see the amount of respect that people have for you, especially in your industry, which I think is super dope. And I want you to kind of go into that a little bit, because for some of you guys, you probably don't know, Alex does trading. So, Alex, can you give me a little bit of information about what you do?
What I do? I mean, I'm a gold trader, so I trade gold versus the dollar. So basically, I to put it in layman's terms, I bet whether gold is going to go up or gold is going to go down, and we make a profit that way. It's all online through trading platforms, and that's how you make money. But I also have like students and stuff like that, and like I offer education,
right,
to others.
Yeah, he makes it seem so easy and so simple, man. But let me ask you this, man: are you successful in this business?
Oh yeah, 100%. Of course, I've been profitable for years. But I mean, like trading is easy.
Right.
The problem with trading is that it's too close to gambling, right? So when we talk about trading, it's trading turns a part of your brain that's called the reward system. So whenever you guys are actually trading, the reward system gets turned on, which is the same system that gets turned on with gambling. So it's like very close to gambling. So what happens is a lot of people, they get that rush and they go based on that rush and those emotions, and then that's how they end up losing all that money. Same as gambling.
Yeah, because man, when I remember you talking to me about the losses as well.
Yeah.
And man, I can't fathom the amount of money that you have lost, but also what you have won.
Yeah.
So, how do you deal with that? I think your biggest loss was what?
700 grand in a day. Yeah, 700 grand in one single day. Yeah, middle of a hurricane. I think it was like 2 years ago. Middle of a hurricane. There was it was just like one of those days that I didn't follow my risk management. I didn't follow my own rules. Because trading, like the losses are honestly very controlled unless you're not following rules. So that day I just was not following your own rules. Like imagine you wake up and you have a certain routine that you do every day. Right, in your life, because you're not a trader, so I'm trying to relate it to your life.
Yeah.
Right, and then you don't follow that routine, and something bad happens. It's like, and it's because you didn't follow that routine. So it's just, I had to take it to the chin because it's my own. It was my own demise.
Yeah, but I don't think it's for anybody. I think psychologically, you need to be really prepared to deal with certain losses like that. Is this for everybody to get involved with?
No, like a lot of people, just want to sell you courses, so they want to entice people to get into trading so they can sell you a course and all this, BS. Can I curse in here or no? Like,
Yeah, we'll bleep it out. Don't worry about it. No, go ahead, man.
Okay.
You're at home.
I'm real, so you don't have to speak
you're real,
from
bro.
the heart.
There you go. Do it.
So, yeah, a lot of people just want to like sell you BS courses and stuff like that, man. And all I can tell you guys, like, if you're trying to get into trading and you're broke right now, don't do it, because trading is only going to make you broker. Trading is not a get rich quick scheme like people think it is, and that's the main problem with the industry that we're in. Everybody thinks that this is a get rich quick scheme, and it's the furthest thing from that. Like, you will lose your money, everything that you have. It's something where you want to get into once you're already comfortable making some type of money. You don't have to be rich, but just have a balanced, comfortable life, and now you're looking for a second source of income. Versus a lot of the kids that are getting into trading now, and I say kids because a lot of people are young when they get into trading, just want to get rich overnight. So they put all their money into trading, they take all these courses, and then just blow all their money. So and that's that's why.
I think a lot of that goes with you're really big on Instagram. You're some people might look at that and say, man, this guy's having fun and this and that, but you're really running a business by doing all these things, and they see the flashy cars. I mean, you got like 4 exotic cars, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people see that, but they don't see the work that was put into that.
Right.
And a lot of the entrepreneurs that I bring on here, they're really successful in what they have built. And a lot of people see that they only see the end result. They don't see the amount of work or stress that goes along with, man, I just lost $700,000.
Right.
It's not, you're not winning all the time. And that's something that you always post, and which I appreciate. I think that's interesting. People only post their winnings, but they don't post their losses.
Yep. I try to change that in industry, I feel like we're in an industry, like I said, everybody's trying to sell courses, and nothing wrong with that. I feel like, honestly, that is one of the best things about the industry, that there's so many knowledgeable other traders out there that you can choose and pick from whoever you relate to the most and whoever you want to learn from, honestly. But I also, at the same time, feel like people should show what's real. Don't sell hopes and dreams. Don't sell smoke and mirrors. Sell reality so that people can then make an educated decision whether this is for them or not. So when I post my losses, sometimes I'll be posting 2-3 days in a row, and people will be messaging me like, man, you're losing a lot. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, like what this is just regular trading. The problem is you're so used to all these fake gurus and all these other people online that just want to sell you stuff, and like they're posting winnings every day, and that's not reality. Losses will happen. Trading is a game of probabilities. So you're going to lose. It's not about if you're going to lose. It's when you're going to lose, and how you lose, how you take the loss. So when you're trading, you want to make sure that you have risk management so that when that day does come that you do take a loss, you can take it to the chin. It's not a big deal.
Right.
Like, for example, that day that I lost that $700,000 was a huge lesson day for me. From that day forward, I changed, a lot.
Yeah. What was going through your mind when you lost that? Like what
So
was the process?
Like a lot of people say, if there's a thing in the industry, right? That when they're teaching new traders, like, hey, if you can take 10 grand to 100 grand, you can take $1 million, to 100 million or something like that, right? So, and that couldn't be one of the furthest thing from the truth. Honestly, I feel like that is like total BS,
right?
Because I want you to think about something right now, okay? If you have a $10,000 account and you're losing $2,000, what can you buy with $2,000? Like, what would you buy right now if I give you $2,000?
Camera.
Right. A camera? Okay. A camera. What else? Like, think about what else can you spend $2,000 for?
A trip.
A trip.
Very
short. Very short. I don't know what type of trip. Very short. Orlando, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. What can you do with $200,000?
Damn.
Everything just opens up, right?
Right.
That is what I'm talking about. So how does it feel to lose $700,000? Ask yourself that question. What can you do with $700,000? And then it all hits you. That's when it's like, wow, I could have bought a house cash. I could have bought a couple of Richard Milles. I could have bought Ferraris. I don't know.
Right.
So many things. Its possibilities are endless with $700,000. Well, not endless, but it's a vast majority of stuff that you can buy. So yeah, that was my biggest loss, biggest lesson. I did it publicly. I did put it out there for everybody to see. I've always been transparent with everybody, because I feel like if you don't share your progress and your losses with everybody else, it's like I said, it just you become so distant from people. People look at you like, you never lose, and you make this fake reality for people. So I never want to do that.
I think it's interesting that you say that, because I'm gonna tie this in a little bit to the spiritual aspect, right? Because I think that a lot of people who don't confront their mistakes, their errors, there's never going to be change, right? And I think a lot of people, they want to put this facade, right, this mask on to say, everything is perfect, everything is good. It's very easy to hide on Instagram. But I really find it interesting when you open up about your issues, how how that impacts other people. Because, for example, when you're sharing about your losses on Instagram, man, it really calls my attention to be like, man, that's dope, man. This is somebody I can trust, and put my, I'm gonna put money towards this course, because you're not just giving me all you're not covering it with sugar and stuff like that. You're not just giving me all the good stuff. You're just saying, hey, but look, this is the reality. You're gonna have losses, you're gonna have wins, but this is just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So that comforts me a little bit more when you're real, because when you're just faking it all the time, and it's like, bro, damn, there's no losses in this.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting that you're open about that. But bro, how did you get to this point, man? Because again, I'm always intrigued about entrepreneurs whenever I'm sitting down with them, and their life story, right? Because who is Alex in reality? Because everyone sees Alex with the exotic cars. He's always at Kiki on the River.
Shout out Kiki.
Yeah, exactly. You're always at the fancy restaurants, eating well. But where did this come from? Who's Alex in reality?
Yeah.
And where did this begin when you're a child? You're always like this when you're a kid? You're always ambitious?
Like, people don't realize, like, you have to build yourself. Before you build the businessman, like, you have to build the businessman before the business, and you have to build the trader before you become, who you want to be. So, like, people don't realize that in the beginning, you're not going to be so sure of these goals that you're going to have. These are goals that you're going to, grow. As you grow as a person, your ambition kind of grows, So, like, no, at the beginning, I came to this country. So I came from immigrant parents, right? Like, I came to this country. I actually was not born in this country at all. Actually, I came here when I was 2002. I was like about 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't know a word of English at all, and it was all Spanish.
Damn,
right?
I didn't know that.
So yeah, so when I came, 3 years, it was like third grade when I came. I was 8 years old.
So you were born in
I was born in Cuba.
Cuba.
Yeah, I was born in Cuba. Came from immigrant parents. My parents were never rich. They never got rich in this country. Hardworking, regular Americans, Cuban Americans. My dad was a truck driver. My mom was a stay-at-home wife. She would work on different retail stores, but because she had to take care of me, she ended up quitting, and just my dad had to take care of her so she could take care of me. Eventually, I started working. My first job was aerobics juice. I'll never forget my first paycheck. That to me, it's always been a motivational step. Like, my wherever I am previously, it's always been motivation for me.
Right.
A lot of people, they ask God, make me rich. Give me $1 million a year, right? And people don't realize that if you are currently making $50K a year, and the next year you're making 70, and the next year you're making 100, and you're still asking God, why haven't you made me rich? You're an idiot. He is helping you. You just don't see it. You want to get rich overnight.
That's right.
So looking back at my life, my first job was aerobics juice. My first paycheck was $167.
Yeah.
For biweekly, like 2 weeks.
That's interesting. You know what? That's almost the same amount of my first paycheck too.
Yeah. So $167 biweekly, working at a juice bar, right? Then after that, I worked at Best Buy. Same thing. Paychecks were like,
yo, can you guys imagine Alex at Best Buy, man?
Man, it's insane. And that person, you look at the person who I was back then, the person that's sitting now, it's insane. The person I was 4 years ago to the person that's sitting now, it's insane. It's a whole different person. I evolve on a yearly basis. Like, it's insane, But I evolve on purpose. A lot of people just sit there and think that their life is going to change, that their mentality is going to change. Like, I look for self-development, So that's the difference. So from there, I had various jobs. Like, I always worked 9 to 5s. Eventually I started a trucking business because my dad was a truck driver. That failed. Lost it all. Had to start again from scratch at 20, 24. Build that up again little by little. Then I got 25. Started trading, and then but I didn't get really like at a successful profitability on trading until I was about 26, 27. So it took me 2 years.
Okay. How old are you now?
I'm 30.
30.
Yeah, I'm 30.
Such a young man.
30. So, it's like I said, I don't come from rich parents. I take care of my parents now. I pay for everything. But money, one thing I learned after getting money is that money's not everything. You know, and people always say that, you know, and I always used to look at people that said that and said, oh, that's easy for you because you have money, you know. But you start, once you reach a certain level, like, you know, that you're like, wow, like I got all these stuff and none of this stuff fulfills me. None of this stuff makes me happy.
Right.
You start to look for more like inner happiness, you know. So you
Yeah.
start to get more aligned with who you really are and yourself. And then that's when you start to look for, you know, I always had God in my life, but that's when you start to look for God. That's when you start to look for inner peace, you know, align yourself with who you really are. And you'll make more money like that. Because a lot of the problems with people is that people are always chasing money. People are always looking for ways to make money. And when you feel like that, you're not coherent with your heart.
Right.
So if you're not, your heart and your brain is not coherent, like you cannot attract money, you know, because you're constantly thinking about money. You're constantly in the lack. You're not in a field of abundance, you know.
Yeah.
You're constantly thinking about, I need money. I need money. You know, you have to feel good for you to attract all those things that you want. You know, you have to like take care of your brain, your body, your emotions. Everything has to be in a coherent space. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically like one of the things that I did.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's a good point because you know you have those you have the documentary that talked about, you know, the people that win the lottery, you know, and they just went broke the first year, 2 years, they're already broke. Their lives are worse than it was before. Right. You know, so money cannot resolve your issues if you're not resolving the issues, your personal development, you know, your mind. And I'm brought back to the Bible, which is an interesting story of King Solomon. You know, King Solomon was now taking the place of his father, and God was going to grant him whatever he asked. And the Bible goes and it describes his request, and he could have asked for anything, and God was going to fulfill that promise to him. So the Bible goes into details, and King Solomon said, ask God, give me wisdom. He could have asked for riches. He could have asked for money. He could have asked for anything, and God would have fulfilled that. But he asked for wisdom and how to deal with his people. And God was so pleased with his request that God basically made him the most intelligent man in that providence and basically in the world. Right. So he was like kind of like the Elon Musk, if you want to say, in that generation. And he was super smart, intelligent. And that's why you have some of the books, Proverbs. You know, you have some of the famous books. If you read Proverbs today, it's like, wow, man, I can apply so many principles into my personal development. Right. You know, so the man was really intelligent, and he built a business and he built a kingdom, a very successful kingdom because of that. So I think it's interesting that you're saying that, because I think you have to invest in yourself in order to get to where you are today. You know, and you know, so you know, as a kid growing up and now seeing where you are today, you know, there had to be like this breaking point in your life where you just like, man, I'm gonna do this. This is what I want to do. What was that breaking point in your life, you think?
Yeah, I've always had the motivation. You know, like one thing about me is like I always had the vision is always there. The vision has always been there of who I wanted to be ever since I was young. You know, I knew what I wanted. I knew the things that I wanted to have in life. You know, whether materialistic or not, I just you know, I wanted these nice things. But I think one of the, honestly, like the you know, points in my life that I got really motivated into becoming an entrepreneur was I used to work for American Express. That was one of my pretty much my last job, 9 to 5. And I worked for the black card department, you know, and the things that I saw there really motivated who I am today. You know, because a lot of you know, and they made me, you know, it's like a lot of people think that just because you have money or all these nice things that you're not a humble person. Being humble like doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you can't have Ferraris and Lamborghinis. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Being humble is like being able to treat others and being real to others. You know, being like, I stay around the same friends that I've had, you know, since high school. I still eat at the same restaurants I used to eat, you know, whether it's, you know, IHOP or whether it's local
You just don't post it.
What? No, because like it's not as often, you know what I'm saying? Right. But I still go, you know, like I still order like regular people think that you're not a regular person all of a sudden, you know, like you, because you have all these things. So the point is like, you know, seeing those numbers prepared me for being humble. Like, like I still, until I haven't achieved those numbers, I'm nothing. I've seen outrageous numbers. I used to see people spend 3-4 million a month on their cards. Like, like it was nothing. I saw 20 million a month on their cards, and a lot of us are aiming to make that. There's people out here spending that. And if that doesn't fucking motivate the shit out of you, then like what will? You know what I'm saying? Like there's two ways you can look at that. There's the hater way. You look at that and as a young entrepreneur, I was maybe like 22, 23 when I first saw that. And you can either get motivated or you can be a hater and be like, oh my God, look at these people. Look at these people spending $20 million. Look at this guy spending $250,000 at dinner. And there's a lot of people like that on the fucking internet.
Yeah.
Like they're just fucking haters.
Yeah.
It's like so fucking stupid. Like you should get motivated, and that's been always my goal, to motivate others. It's never about flexing. It's never about being flashy. It's about motivating others and letting them know that everything's possible, especially through faith. If you have faith, anything's possible. The one thing that you can never lose is the faith, because life is a roller coaster. You're going to go through ups, you're going to go through downs, but you just got to like hold on. Like, eventually you'll come back up. But when I was there, watching somebody spend $20 million in a month was one of the most motivating things I've ever seen. And to some others, it might be like, that sounds stupid. Like, no, you're stupid. You don't understand what it's like for you to be able to spend that in a month. That is motivating, Right. So I've always aimed for that. I've always aimed for like, being at that certain level. I am at a certain level where I can say I'm, like I've had a black card. So I've been in a certain category,
Right.
But still, like I haven't achieved that, that one goal, So it's like, wow, like that impresses me. And it's always good about like, we always give back to others and stuff like that. Like, whether it's like sometimes I'll go to a regular restaurant and we gone to Nuts Red and the bills was like $2,000, $3,000.
I almost had a heart attack. I was like, oh wait, hey.
Yeah, you're like, wow. So when I go to regular restaurants that the bill comes for like, I think the other day me and Mike went to Outback and I think the bill for like 4 or 5 people came to $200, and I was like, what is this? Like, what is this magical place?
Right.
So and the waiter was so good, man. Like that guy, honestly, wow. I was like, like I'm gonna bless somebody with that. So we doubled the bill. Like bill was $200. I left him $200 tip.
Yeah.
And you get to do stuff like that. That's and that's the cool thing about having money. It's not the cars.
Yeah.
People sometimes ask me why I have so many cars. They think it's because I want to have multiple. It's like, nah, it's for me and my friends.
That's what I see, and that's what I think is dope.
Yeah. When I was growing up, like a lot of my friends like cars. Like we grew up around cars. They always wanted to have Lamborghinis. Always wanted to have Ferraris and this and like that. Like my childhood friends, right? And I was like, one day, one of my dreams was, let me have multiple of them so that me and my friends can always ride around.
That's dope, man.
So now everywhere I go, like we just, they get the keys, I keep one, like, and we all just ride around and get to enjoy it,
Yeah.
Another things that we do is like we take the cars to the what is it, Race to Revive. It's
right.
It's an event where kids that have terminal ill, stuff like we diseases and stuff like that. We take the cars to them, have them enjoy the cars, things like that. So, it's cool having money or whatever, but it's cooler to give back and to see other people smile.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you have no money.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for me, and I'm going to confess something to you. This is where sometimes we get lost in how we see money, right? I'm not motivated by money in the sense of, I'm not going to be your friend because of what you have. I'm not going to treat you differently because of what you have. Right? It just doesn't motivate me. And I remember some guys, some people would just be like, telling me what they have and this and that. Like it was going to do something to me for me to make decisions. And I'm like, bro, I don't care what you have. It's not going to, I'm not hanging out with you. I don't want to have a conversation with you just because of that. And I always seen that in you, and again, I'm not here to try to put you up there and stuff like that. I can spend all day talking about your flaws too. But it's one of the things that I've always noticed in you was this you're not attached to your material things. It's just a tool. And for me growing up, especially, in the church, money was looked at as being something evil, right? But it's a misinterpretation, right? The Bible says the love of money is evil, right? So when you're growing up and you have that in your mind to progress, to build, it just stops you, because once you get to a certain level, you're like, no, that's already evil. I don't want to get to that point.
Yeah.
And this is where we have to mature spiritually. And this is why God says, build a relationship with him. Build a relationship, constantly building your self-awareness and stuff like that. Because once you do that, you start realizing, man, money is just a tool that you can use to give, to do good, not to harm anybody or try to, use it as a weapon against anyone else or whatever the case is. But when you apply it properly, it does have a really immense impact in people's lives, man.
Right.
And I think it's not for everybody, man. I truly don't think it's for everybody, because I do see people who have it and it's just like, man, you lost your way. But I always tell people, money doesn't change anybody. It just amplifies who you really are. That's
1,000%.
That's just it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, once you have money, it just amplifies who you are already. If you were a certain kind of person before, you're gonna just be a bigger one. But also at the same time, like back to the Bible verse that you just said, in love, when you're in love with money, right? So that's one thing about me. I'm never in love with money. Like, I'm in love with options. Okay, that's not something that people don't understand. Okay, having options is your goal. It's not money. People think it's money. Oh, you're in love with the options. You know what you want? You want to have options for cars. You want to have options for trips. You want to have an option to wake up and do whatever you want to do. That is what that's what your heart really wants. You just don't realize. You think, but it takes money to get there. But I'm in love with options. I'm in love with having multiple watches. I want to have options. I want to have multiple cars. I want to have multiple houses. I want to have multiple trips. Everything in multiples. It's options, That's what I love about the situation, But I don't love money. I actually disrespect money all the time. I don't look at money the way that everybody looks at.
Right.
Everything in life is fucking rented. Like I just told it to one of my friends the other day, because he calls me and he's like, hey, I'm looking at this house. And it's like, I think it's like $7,000 a month or something like that. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, I sent him another one. I'm like, this one's 10. And he's like, yeah, but that's an extra $3,000. I don't want to waste an extra $3,000 on a house that's not mine. Right. And I'm like, what the fuck is yours? You think anything in life is yours? Like, we're all going to die. Everything here is rented. You think you're going to own that house? Like, everything's rented. Unless you buy it outright, you own it.
When you put it in that perspective.
When I put it in perspective, you own it in the physical world. Right. You own it in here. But everything in life is rented. Like, you wake up every day and everything's a lease. Your life is leased.
Absolutely.
Your cars, your everything is leased. Yeah, the physical world in an aspect, yes, you might be buying according to the human contracts and reality, life is leased.
Yeah, you get sick, that's it.
Yeah, you're here for from a certain time to a certain time. It's a lease. That's what you are. Your life is leased, so you're gonna die one day. You might as well like do the things that you want to do. Right. That's one thing I always tell everybody. Like, enjoy your fucking life, man, and strive for short-term goals. Yeah, that make you happy, because that's gonna take you to the long-term goals. People always look at the long-term goals, and it's like, you shoot for long-term goals, you gotta wait for long-term results.
Man, I agree so much with you.
So start doing little things.
Little things, yeah.
That's gonna make you happy. That's going to eventually help you on those long-term goals. Like, if you don't do the little things that make you happy, like sometimes I just want to wake up and like I just want to jump in the pool. It's 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, and I'm in the pool, and people are like, "What are you doing?" It's like, and it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's something that just makes me. It's a little thing that makes me happy, right? But at that day, I just woke up and I'm like, sometimes you gotta wake up and you gotta ask yourself, what can I do today? Not in a week, not in 2 weeks. That's going to really make me happy, you know? Yeah. And then you should do it, because it's going to give you that little bit of like step-by-step, short-term.
It gives you more drive, man, I think, man.
Yes.
And just going back to the money part, it's like, now that I see, what I'm doing today,
right?
And I'm thinking to myself, man, I can have a more impact. Not that money, and again, money is just a tool,
right?
But again, when you have money, you can do so much more. And I'm thinking to myself, man, how much more can we do to impact the world with a message,
Yes.
something to encourage the younger generation.
Yes.
You know, especially when it comes to, you know, relationship. You know, you have, and this is another topic we're going to get into. You know, it's what legacy are we going to leave behind,
Right.
right? And for me, that is super important because I always tell people this, man. If I die today, what are people going to remember me from? Are they going to remember me, you know, this guy that was a freaking jerk, you know,
Right.
didn't give, it was not respectful, whatever the case is, or is this person going to remember me like, you know, this guy was always there for me, whatever the case is,
Right.
you know? So, and again, your story's told, and today, man, with everything, with content, I mean, it's a book,
Yeah.
and people are going to be able to go back at that in history and look at that and say, man, that's Alex's life right there, man. That's who
Yeah.
he was. But at the same time, I don't want that to reflect who I really was, who I really am. You know,
Right.
so that for me is very important. You know, what we're leaving behind. Man, your legacy, you know, when you think about legacy, what comes to your mind?
I mean,
What I leave
legacy.
behind?
When I think about legacy, I just think about like who you imprint on.
Right.
You know, how many people did you change? How many people look up to you? That's what I think about legacy. Like to me,
Yeah.
is this you know, how many people can you impact? So and that's the thing about like back to what we're talking about money. Like you said, without money, you can't really change the world. Unfortunately, right?
Right.
We live in a money driven world, and without money, you can't change the world.
Mm.
You know, you can't give out, you can't give back to others. You know, you can't do most of the things you want to do, like take care of your parents, take care of what you know. Everyone
Yeah.
else. So, you know, unfortunately, you have to be driven by money. You have to be a go getter. You know,
Yeah.
but I think like that's it's. I think money is a side effect of a person that is coherent. You know, there's abundant. Like money is just a side effect. If you really are coherent with yourself, like your emotions, your brain, it's all aligned, you know, you're going to do more things. You're going to get up earlier. You're going to stop drinking. You're going to stop the drugs. You're going to stop partying. You're going to stop all the bullshit, you know. Once you're aligned and you stop all that, you'll see why you were never making money.
Mm. Mm.
That's when you're really going to realize this is what was stopping me from making money.
Interesting. Staying on that topic right there, you just touched up on something interesting, man. You don't drink.
No. Well,
Give me a little bit of information on that, man. How do you see your life? Because I know you spoke about it, but a lot of people who might not understand. You don't drink, but I think you drink in the end of on your birthday or something like that.
So I drink from like December 17, which is my birthday, all the way to like January. And I stopped the whole year, you know. And I do it to remind myself of how much drinking can fuck up your life. It's a reminder every year. Because in that short period of time, my life always changes.
Interesting.
Always changes. In that short period of time, for a month and a half, you make so many stupid decisions that you look back and you're like, this is exactly why I don't drink, you know? And you don't realize it, but like, you know, when you're doing something so good for such a long time, you know, like right now, if you guys are doing anything right by yourselves, like if you're hitting the gym, if you're eating right, if you're doing all this kind of stuff that are personal goals for yourself, try fucking up for a week. Let me know how you feel.
Right.
That's going to remind you of why you should go back to doing what you did. So, yeah, I don't drink the whole year. Like I'll go to places and I'll get a section, you know, just because like I don't want to be like plastered and like, you know, I don't want to be like around a bunch of people and stuff like that. Like I want to be comfortable, but yeah, I won't drink like all year long. You know, so.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope because I think a lot of people, again, especially for the young people, and I think the message is very important because you might see this man, you know, in these clubs or whatever the case is, but there is a form of responsibility that you have, and I think that's very important to understand that because you have a huge following, and just to think that whatever you do, whatever you say, there is a group of people who are going to listen to that and apply that. So that's a huge responsibility that you have on your hands in the sense of, look, you guys make your own decisions, but you are the callus, you are the leader that's bringing that information to that person. So just understanding that you don't drink, You know, you're waking up early in the morning.
Yep.
You're not just playing around. You don't just see you just playing with your cars. There's a lot of work that's happening behind the scenes.
Well, that's what they see on Instagram, right? They see the cars,
Exactly.
they see the lifestyle, right? Now I've been lately doing a habit of showing them my daily habits. You know, like waking up 5 a.m. You know, hitting the gym or whatever.
The
Then
gym,
coffee. You know, working, 8 a.m. live trading, stuff like showing people habits. You know, it's all about showing the people the habits that
Routines
of really like who you are. You know,
Right.
It's not all about like the nice restaurants, and I might go to clubs, but I'll be the first one to leave by 11 p.m. Like I'll be there. Like some clubs don't even open till 12, and I'm already like I don't even want to be here. You know,
Yeah.
But like throughout the year, it's funny because I'll have multiple conversations with people, and people will be like, "You don't drink? Like I just saw you the other day at Live, or I just saw you the other day at Kiki's," and I'm like, "You see me drink though?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, go there." That's the type of the level of discipline that I have.
Yeah.
I will sit there with 4 or 5 of my friends. They'll be plaster drunk, and I will be just chilling, just enjoying the music,
Right.
just laughing at drunk people. And then, you know, at a certain time, I'll be like, all right, it's time for me to go home. And everybody will look at me and everybody will be like, are you crazy?
Right.
Be like, this is just getting started. And I'm like, that's great. I got to go to sleep. You know, like, that's just me. Like, I got to go to sleep. I respect more, you know, my sleep and all that kind of stuff. They're like, what are you going to do? What's an extra 2-3 hours of drinking going to do for you? Like, what's that going to do for your life?
Exactly.
What is drinking going to do for your life? You know, I feel like a lot of people drink to escape their problems, and they don't realize that that's just making it worse.
Absolutely.
Like you're drinking to escape your problems, and your problems are still going to be there tomorrow. As a matter of fact, they're going to be worse because drinking is all it's going to do is stress you out even more. Yeah. The next day you're going to have a hangover. You're going to lose that day. Then the day after that, you're going to wake up a little bit later because your body's still fighting, you know, all that inflammation. Yeah. And then you're losing 2 or 3 days, and you're losing all those neurons. Like, you know, you're just killing your brain.
Yeah, I don't miss it at all, man. I think for me, it's like, you know, I used to drink exactly what you said, man. I think I was fulfilling a emptiness in myself.
Yep.
And, you know, it was just like this courage thing, right? I just had to drink because, you know, I wanted to talk to this girl or something like that, and I just needed to get lit. Like, there's just so many different things, and it's like, bro, it's not even worth it.
That's the main problem with all men, right? No man here is confident enough to talk to a woman without drinking.
Exactly, man.
You know, like that's the fucking problem.
It's crazy.
You know, nobody's confident enough to do that. And it's like, why do you have to drink to talk to a woman?
Right.
If you are, you know, a man that is, you know, valuable, you know that you are the prize. You know that you are that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like you're that guy. When you walk into a room, people are gonna know.
Exactly.
You don't have to be drinking. You don't have to like show off. People are gonna know. You know, when you walk in, like if I walk into like 4 or 5 of my guys into a room, they're gonna know who they're gonna see me for some reason stand out from the 4 or 5 guys around me.
Absolutely.
You know, and like when you talk to a woman, it's like it's more impressive to talk to a girl and tell her that you don't drink. You don't know how many conversations I've had. The women like, you don't drink? I'm like, I don't drink. They're like, oh, you sure? I'm like, I don't drink. And then that interests them more than you being the drunk guy next to them. Hey, baby, what's up? What's your number? That is more interesting. It's you don't understand. Like women, people have a misconception that women, you know, want you to be this party guy and all this kind of stuff. Like, man, like women want a guy that, like, well, serious women. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Serious women want a guy that has their shit together. A guy that gets up at 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, just before noon. You know, make sure you get up before noon. Has their shit together. It's working. You know, it has something going for their life. You know, and most of these men is like, I gotta drink to try to even talk to a woman like that. But
yeah, so how do you see that, man? Because you know, I live, you know, I'm agreeing with you the whole time. Like, I'm like, you know, talking to women. Listen, I've been married for 24 years with my wife. All right, so
yeah. And I'm not talking from you know a perspective of like I talk to a lot of women or something like I don't. You know, like that's another that's another vice. You know, women is a vice.
So to my point on that, right? Whenever we have these conversations, I have these conversations with other guys who are single or whatever, they're out there, and especially with women, I'm having these conversations with women, and women are like, oh, I can't find a decent guy, and vice versa, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But then they're going to these clubs and whatever. I'm just trying to analyze because I don't know what it is, right, to go through that. But you do see this disconnect because women are trying to look for that alpha, looking for that guy that's responsible and this and that. Because I think the nature of women, they are attracted to the guy that's going to be the provider. And I think a lot of guys get it mixed up to think, oh, these women are gold diggers and so on. Yes, in a certain way, they are gold diggers because they want to feel secure. That's just the nature of it. But at the same time, if the guy is not doing his part, and I'm not saying the women are that's
Yeah.
you're supposed to be living like a out there screwing everybody.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, yo, men have a responsibility to, be responsible, man.
Yeah.
Be the
Well, you
guy.
gotta understand something. Like a lot of men say that like, oh, women are gold diggers. Women are not gold diggers, bro. You just can't provide for them.
That's
You
what
know
I'm saying.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said. Like I said, women are not gold diggers. They just know exactly what they want. You know, and at the end of the day, if you cannot provide what they want, then just go. Maybe that's not your level, bro. Go to somebody else with less standards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But women know exactly what they want. But the funny thing is like, so think about like how men attract women with money, right?
Right.
Like most men,
Right.
They try to like flash and other stuff, and that's how they attract women. And then how do women attract men, right? With makeup and these provocative things. But at the end of the day, it's funny because men complain about women, being gold diggers, and then women complain about men, that they want this promiscuous girls. It's like
Exactly. Yeah.
that's how you attract. That's what you attract. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you are where you attract.
Exactly.
But I think like I said, when you become high value, you know what I'm saying? When you value yourself, like a lot of men are here just trying to find women or just trying to like same thing. You go try to find a woman, you try to find money, you try to find something. Like you need to look in yourself. You need to be happy with yourself. Before you can have a good relationship, you need to be happy with yourself.
Absolutely.
Before you can be rich, you need to be rich mentally. Before you're rich physically. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So all these things that men don't understand, like you need to do all that. Like long before you have something, you need to mentally prepare for it.
Yeah.
That's why I said before you have a business, you need to make the businessman. Do you think a businessman gets up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 p.m.? No. People think because you have money, you can just do all these that you work less.
Man.
It's like, I work more than I'm never in my life getting up at 5 a.m. Like never. Now I'm getting up at 5 a.m. because I realize that I don't have enough daylight.
Yeah.
I don't have enough daylight. And the way I look at business is like, okay, most of my businesses are run through the day, right? Most of my partners are in overseas. So I have to be up at 4 or 5 a.m. just to talk to them. Okay. And by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, there's nothing going on, so it's not worth for me to even be awake. It's not making me money to be awake at 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
Right.
So the way I look at it now is like, okay, I got to get up at 4 a.m. So I can handle some business overseas. And then I got to continue, through the day, like, so that my daylight is longer.
Right.
People don't realize that. People think that it's just, you got all this money. Okay. Now you can do whatever you want. Oh, you're crazy. All my friends get up at 5, 6, 7 in the morning. All my friends are like working Sundays. I work Sundays. I work Saturdays.
Absolutely.
All my friends are hustlers.
Yeah.
And they all make multiple millions a month. It's like it's not like it's crazy to think like, before, that saying of like, the harder you work, the luckier you get. It's true. It's literally true. The harder you work, the luckier you'll get. I realize that. It's like the earlier I do, the more work you've done. Remember, you always have an
working
advantage.
smart though. Working smart.
Yeah.
There's some people that they work all these hours, but it's like, I don't see
right.
the return.
Yeah. I mean, if you're working 12 hours for the same job, you're gonna get the same results.
Yeah.
You're just changing. All you're doing is changing time for money, right? You're working at a rate of $30 an hour. And you're working 12 hours. You're gonna make $360 in a day, right? So that's it. That's that is your cap. That's your limit. Versus if you're working on yourself, you really have no limit.
Right.
Because if you're putting, I guarantee you put 12 hours a day into yourself, you have no limit. And that's what people don't understand. Work for yourself, not for others. Now, a lot of people reach out to me, right? Back to what we were talking about earlier, and they're like, I got $3,000 to my name. I want to get into trading. I'm like, bro, get those $3,000, invest it into self-development. Okay? Invest it into yourself. Get a course, get a mentorship. First, learn. People just want to like get their last dime and just throw it into trading. And then that's what we're talking about when it comes to transparency. Like people hit me up like that all the time. I don't even answer you. Like, I'm gonna do you a favor and not get you into trading Because if all you have is $3,000 to your name, you have a bigger issue.
Right.
You have a bigger issue than trading.
Right.
Trading is not going to save you from poverty. Like you, self-development and working into yourself, that's what's going to save you from poverty.
Yeah.
Trading is not going to do that for you.
Yeah, that's a good lesson that you're giving because again, I'm at a certain age, and when I look at what you're doing, the numbers, and I'm like, yo, man, I think I should get into this. But then in my mind, it's like that's just not the way it is.
Yeah,
you're seeing again the end product. But so I can see where a lot of these young people might look at that and say,
right.
But there's a lot of work, guys. There's a lot of work that goes into this, and you need to, like you said, mentorship is super important. Find somebody that you can truly trust to put you to that, to give you the right information so you can make the right choices. I think that's super important, having someone there.
Well, you understand, like the reason why, you get a mentor is, can you do it yourself? Of course. But you're going to have through multiple trials and tribulations. You know how many people, it's funny.
Right.
So I've had people like hit me up. I've been trading for 5 years. I'm like, okay, cool. It's like, I've been trading for 5 years. I haven't been successful at it. And I want you to mentor me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll throw you like a mentorship price. I don't know. Let's say $20,000. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, that's too much money. And I'm like, okay. So in 5 years, let me ask you something. How much money have you lost? Oh, I've lost, $200,000. I'm like, okay. So talk to me in another 5 years. You're going to lose another $200,000 for not paying the 20 grand.
Good point.
And people, they don't realize that. I've been trading for 5 years. So you've been trading for 5 years. I've been trading for 5 years. I'm at a certain level where you want to be. I got here in 5 years. You're nowhere near that level. You're not even profitable yet. Right. I have students that are profitable in 10 months. And you've been trading for 5 years. But you know what stops you from being profitable? Your ego. You refuse to pay another man to teach you things that you don't know. I'm not egotistic. I've paid mentors myself. I've paid people to teach me things I don't know, whether not even related to trading.
Yeah.
Just related to like self-development, coaching, this, that. Listen, you're never going to go broke investing in yourself.
Yeah. And I see that in you, man. I think you have that gift of teaching, and I don't know what it is. I think you got to be patient. To be a teacher, you have to be patient. It's a huge responsibility. And I remember when we went to the expo, the FX Expo,
the FX Summit,
yeah, the summit, man. And I just saw you spending like hours with people, just talking to them, man. And I was like, damn, this guy's spending like 2-3 hours just standing there, just feeding people and just talking to them and just giving insight. So I think that's really dope when you're able to pass on that information, because some people might think, man, you know what, I'm not going to give you my secret sauce. And a lot of people, and I've spoken to people who I do content for, and they're like, man, I don't want to tell them my secrets. Like, I don't want to tell them how the business is. I'm like, bro, let me tell you something, man. The reason why you're successful is because you went through trial and error and you went through so many things, man. You're just going to give a piece of that information to somebody, but they're going to go through their trials and tribulations, and it's not easy. You're just giving steps, but that person is going to go through their problems. So I don't think you have any issues passing that on to anybody, right?
I don't, because you have to understand something. I could teach 1,000 people how to trade today. My strategy, none of them are me. Right? None of them are me.
Exactly.
You got to understand, like, trading, there is no secret sauce to trading. That's the first thing. Like, people think that there is this ABC strategy to trading. Haha, I figured it out. No, you didn't figure out shit. You figured it out for one day. That's what happened to you. You figure it out for 1-2 days. You feel confident as hell. Give it a couple more days. You're going to see that confidence is gone. You know why? Because it's not about an aha moment. You're never going to find that in trading. It's about risk management and probabilities. That's it. It's a game of probabilities. You have to understand, you will lose. You will win. Win more than you lose. Risk very little. And that's it. That's the whole sauce. There is nothing else after that. So when people are like, oh, are you really giving me the secret? I'm like, yeah, of course. I'm teaching you everything I know. Like I said, it's not the strategy, it's always the trader. Right. I said it the other day on Instagram, and I'm saying it right now. It's not the strategy, it's the trader itself. I can teach 1,000 people my strategy. Doesn't mean that 1,000 people are going to be successful.
Right.
It's how they apply it and how they use psychology to their favor. You know, like if you step out of the time frames that I give you, if you step out of the risk management strategy that I give you, that's on you, And like I said, you always have to have a certain type of mindset. That mindset is very important when it comes to trading. Like, I always go into the markets with a lion mindset. A lot of people want to be the GOAT, in everything, right? Like you
Right,
hear
right, right,
you
right,
hear
right.
people like, I'm the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. Like, okay, cool. You're the fucking GOAT. That's great. I'm a lion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat you. Like,
I like that.
that's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mindset.
Right,
Like,
right.
I don't want to be the fucking GOAT. Like
Yeah.
I am who I am. Like I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
who I am in real life. I don't have to tell you who I am.
That I heard someone talk about that, right? Because I'm always like thinking to myself, hey, I'm not about this whole competition, competing and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then one of these guys, that I follow, which is a Christian and everything, and he put a perspective, and I was like, man, you're right. It's like you got to eat up your competitors, man. You got to be better.
Competition is always
pushes,
good.
yeah, it's always good because it kind of pushes you. Not that you want you want that person to fail.
Right.
I don't want no one to fail or
Right.
anything like that. But it does push you to be better.
Right.
Competition is good because then it just pushes you because sometimes we get complacent, and it's
Yeah.
like, I'm good where I'm at, but can you do better? Can you be that better person?
You know what's
Do
the
more.
easiest prayer? Like if you really want to pray, if you want to pray, right? Like, and you want an instant prayer like answered, ask God to remove from your life. Not to remove. Ask if you want an instant prayer that's gonna answer. Like ask God to tell you like what do you need to remove from your life that's stopping you from being successful.
I like that. Yeah.
And you know why is an instant prayer answered? Because you know the answer.
Oh, I like that.
Like it's instantly answered.
Yeah.
Look at yourself in the mirror and like ask yourself, like, what do I need to remove? Right? It's not competition. The reason why I say that it's not competition, right? Competition is not bad for you. Competition is good for you. Go ask your God, hey, hey, help me remove, from my life what I need to do to be successful. Like help me remove it from my life. And then go in the mirror and look at yourself right after you pray for that in the mirror and answer it yourself. And he's gonna tell you, stop drinking. Stop fucking partying.
Yeah.
Stop the women. Stop everything that you're chasing. It's the wrong things to be successful. The drugs, the partying, there's some friends that, you're going to go through that little awkward stage where you're changing your life and your old friends like are, kind of like judging you, and then you're kind of drifting towards that new crowd, but you're still not successful enough to kind of hang out with the new crowd. So you're kind of in the middle. Right. And that's what I said the other day. Like, that's the most important part of your life. Like, that shift, when you're, like, right in the middle, if you look back and you listen to those old friends, you're going to be in the same place.
You said something this week happened, same thing that happened to me, man. I was, I had to make a shift. I had to make a change because my mind, I know I was weak-minded, and, growing up, I got involved with drugs and gangbang and all that stuff. I did some crazy stuff.
Right.
And when I was hanging out with my boys, I was the ringleader basically, right? So they saw me as a ringleader. So everything I did, they want to do. And when I left, it was like, yo, what's going on? This is not you. So it was hard. So I started losing contact with my boys and stuff like that. They were like, yo, you're turning into a Christian. You're turning into like a fanatic. What's going on?
Right.
So there was a lot of judgment on that. But I told them, I said, man, listen, I'm not leaving you guys because I'm better than you guys. It's because I'm weak.
Right.
And if I hang out with you guys, man, I'm just going to continue. You think I'm the ringleader.
Right.
That's not happening. I'm just weak. I'm completely weak. And every time I hang out with you guys, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm partying. And I'm going to lose myself.
I like that.
Because I knew that I was weak. So what happened was, fast forward now that my life has changed and I made those cuts that you were talking about. I cut those things out. Today, they call me. They're still living a certain lifestyle. And they're like, bro, now I understand why you made the decision you did, man.
Right.
And now they're searching for that change in their lives. And I'm like, man, it's not to judge you, man. I just need it for myself. It wasn't because of you guys, but it was for myself. So, I like
that. That's deep. That resonates because people think that, being hard, like being a hard guy is like, oh, I got to drink. Like, no, that doesn't make you more masculine.
Right.
As a matter of fact, makes you more harder to the fact that you don't drink.
Right.
Don't do drugs. That's hard because everything in this life now is easy. It's easy to drink. It's easy to do drugs. It's easy to like do whatever everybody else is doing. It's really hard to not do what everybody else is doing.
Right. Don't follow the crowd, basically.
Right. So the hardest part is not drinking. So, people think that you're hard because you drink. That doesn't make you more of a man. Makes you a man if you don't drink. That's just hard. Trust
man.
me. You know?
That's dope, man.
So,
Yo, I want to go into a subject real quick. You know, we're gonna be closing off, but man, what you know, maybe people don't know this, but you're a dad. You're a father, man.
oh yeah.
So how is it being a father, man? What does that mean to you, man? Because I'm not a dad. Man. Listen, I've been with my wife for 24 years. Now we're planning to have kids because we're bored with each other. We're like, man, something needs to happen, right?
Right.
But, you know, there's a part of your life that a lot of people don't have access to. And that is your family, man. That's your daughter.
Yep.
Right? So what does that mean to you, man?
I mean, it means everything, you know. And you know, once you have somebody else to live for, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to live for somebody else. You know, your decision making is different.
Yeah.
You know, people think that you'll be like less aggressive when you have a kid to live for. It's the total opposite. You're way more aggressive with life. You're way more aggressive in goals because now you have somebody that depends on you. You know, and for me, it's like I gotta go through this so my daughter doesn't go through it. You know, I gotta take if I say something or if people hate on me, you know, because of what I do or, you know, who I am, like I'd rather people hate on me. You know, I'd rather go through the pain. I'd rather go through anything, you know, before my daughter does. Like, I don't want my daughter on fucking Instagram, you know, selling like protein powder and fucking, you know, exposing her body.
Right.
Simple as that, you know. Right. So I'd rather me do it. If anything, I'll fucking sell protein powders and you know, open OnlyFans. You know, so it, you know, becoming a father, especially to a daughter, it's hard because you know, I'm here. I'm
you know what it is out there.
I know what it is out there. You know what I know what it is out here. So you know, I think that's God's revenge on me, you know, for past,
I don't think so, man. It's
past
not God's
wrongdoings,
revenge.
you know, past wrongdoings,
No.
but it definitely changes your mindset. You definitely become more aggressive. You know, you become more protective. I think even the mom, you know, becomes more protective.
Oh yeah.
But the father becomes even more protective, and you know, I have a different mindset when it comes to like kids and stuff like that. Like, you know, maybe I don't see her as often or something like that, but that's because I'm working towards, you know, a future of where I can just spend my days with her. You know, and it's hard.
Yeah, because that's a point where, again, I don't know what it is. Because some people like say, yeah, I know what you're going through. No, you don't, man. You only know when you go through it, right?
Oh, yeah.
We can have an idea, but what I see in a lot of parents is the selflessness, right?
Yeah.
You become selfless. In other words, it's not about you anymore. It's about it's the new generation that you're bringing on, and that person.
Right.
When you look at that person, that little child, you're like, man, this is a part of me.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? I don't know if I became more selfless or more selfish.
Oh man,
you know,
damn.
Yeah, because you know now it's different. Now when you do things, you know, less things matter to you. I don't know if like I'm explaining myself correctly, but like when other people do things to you, like it don't matter. And when other people, like, it don't matter. Like nothing matters anymore. The only thing that matters is your daughter. You know what I'm saying? So you become more selfish. You become like, you care less about other people. You care more about her. You know, so it's and about yourself, because you gotta now you become selfish in the sense of like, okay, now I really gotta take care of myself. You know, like physically, mentally, emotionally, I choose every day myself, because I'm like, if I'm not good, she's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
You know, and she's too young now to see it, but in the future she'll see this. You know, where.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she looks back at this and like, that was my dad.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, you always gotta ask yourself. Like, people always ask me, like, are you the type of man that your daughter would date? You know, and when you have a daughter, you really gotta ask yourself that. Are you a drug addict? Are you drinking and partying I look at some of my friends and I will fucking never let them date my daughter. I'll fucking snap their necks, you know?
Oh, man.
And that's how I'm like, now I'm like, okay, you know, I gotta change. I gotta do that. So when I have my daughter, you know, my daughter's about to be 3. Yeah, 3 years ago, I think I changed, you know, but now more than ever, you know, I see myself changing more every day, just because your decision making is not the same anymore. But yeah, you want to become the type of man that your daughter wants to date. Yeah. You know, the type of man is like, and you know, relationship wise, I'm not the easiest person to fucking deal with. You know.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah, and like, yeah, but you know, like even friendship wise, relationship wise, bro. Like, people tell me that you're a fucking difficult person, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm real as fuck. You know, I'm that one friend that's never gonna lie.
Right.
You know, I'm that one friend that's never gonna, like, you know, do some shady shit. Like, I loyalty to me is everything. You know, You stay loyal to me, I stay loyal to you. Relationship wise, friendship wise, and everything wise. Loyalty to me means everything.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing about that is I'm difficult. That's just because I expect loyalty.
Yeah, man.
You know? And I expect a certain standard, you know, in my friends. And it's only for their good. You know what I'm saying? Like if I force you to go at 5 a.m. to the gym with me, that's a good force. You know, like I'm not forcing you to do drugs with me. I'm forcing you to go to, you know.
Be better, man. Be better.
You know, everybody in my team, I think I've pretty much gotten a gym membership.
Yeah, man, I saw that, man. I've been seeing that. I'm like, damn, everyone's getting.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much gotten a gym membership like for everybody in my team. I think I got like a year one for Pooh, Ellie Fitness. I got one for Mark.
That's super dope.
My guy's his own.
Mark used to always he's always fit.
Yeah, Mark's my assistant. Mark's my assistant.
Yeah, he's always fit, man.
He's the man behind the scenes.
Man, let me tell you something, man. That man has to have so much patience, man.
Mark's writing a book.
Yeah, I know he's writing a book.
You know, he's writing a book.
What's the name of the book?
Man, I don't want to say the name of the book on this podcast, man, because this is like a godly podcast. So like I was just ruined. But it's called Assistant to a Degenerate.
Oh man, guys.
All right, but we'll leave that part there. So, but yeah, it's, you know, like I've always tried to, you know, I'm a difficult person. I'm a difficult client. You know, at some point when we work together, you know, I'm difficult.
Oh man, yeah.
But like I said, man, it's just
much love, man. Let me tell you something, man. This is why we still have the relationship we have, man, and you know that's why we maintain it. And your sincerity, your loyalty to your team, man, and I always admired it. And I always told you that, man. I was like, man, your team is awesome, man. And I really appreciate that from you, man. And because it's really hard to see that nowadays, because, you know, some business people look at it like this. You know what? I'm building this business, but if you're not at that certain level, there's a certain standard, right?
Right.
But you don't just abandon them.
Mm-hmm. Never.
You keep them there. You know what I'm saying?
It's
now it's going to be their fault. It's going to be their fault if they don't. They're not, you know.
Yeah, holding up to the standard. But I always told them, I'm like, you know, if I go up, we all go up. If I go down, we all go down. I don't have employees that have a team. You know, and that's how way I run my business, and that's why my other businesses apart from trading has been successful, because I don't hire employees. You know who are all my employees? Every single friend from childhood, I've made it a mission to hire them.
That's awesome.
I have, you know, in my trucking business, I have like 4 or 5 people under me. I'm sorry, not under me. Under me, I have like 25, 30 employees. Right. But like my close friends, I have 4 or 5 under me. Like they're my close friends from childhood. I took them from multiple, like, you know, AT&T, like Fortune 500 companies, and I hired them to come work for me because I want to, you know, I want to hire people I trust, you know, and I want to, and I'd rather pay somebody more that I know is going to take care of my business than just like a complete stranger. That's why, like, I always tell everybody, like, I don't build employees, you know, like I build teams.
That's awesome, man.
And that's how you have to look at it. You know, if that's what a lot, I was talking to somebody yesterday about that. And it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's really hard to trust somebody. Like, I want to delegate my business, somebody that I'm mentoring actually. Yeah. He's like, yeah, man, I'm so busy. Like, it's really hard for me to wake up early because I got to take all these calls. And I'm like, why don't you delegate? Why don't you hire somebody else? And he's like, yeah, man, but nobody's going to run your business. I'm like, because you're hiring an employee. You know, hire a team, hire somebody that you can be like, hey, we're a team, you know, on that close personal stuff.
I agree with that 100%.
You know,
man.
so once you become something like that, like, you know, and I always treat everybody the same. Like, even when we were working together, we would go to restaurants and stuff like that. Absolutely, and like, you know, all these stuff. That's just how I run.
That's the only thing I miss.
You miss the restaurants? It's unforgettable. That's crazy. Unbelievable.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's been quite a journey.
That's dope, man. That's dope, man. You know, again, Alex, man, I really appreciate you coming on to the podcast, man. And you know, when we were talking about, you know, selfless, and you were talking about your experience with your child and everything, man. For me, it is something that I envy. Because I don't know what that is. Right. Because I want to experience what it means for Christ. And again, I'm going to the spiritual aspect of this. Right. You know, Jesus himself was selfless. And when people don't understand that, Jesus himself, he was preparing himself for the ultimate sacrifice for all humanity. Right? John 3:16 says that, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Yeah. And I'm like, man, what degree would it take for someone to go through what he went through for all humanity? And it's like, and I see the relationship that you have with your friend, and he talks about the best friend is the one that's willing to lay his life for the other. That is crazy, man. That relationship is so deep that I'm like, man, are you willing to sacrifice yourself for that person, that friend? And that's the ultimate love. And I mean, to get to that point, I mean, I'm not there. I'm not there. And I think as a parent, you're the only one that can say, you know what, I will lay my life for my daughter.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? I lived my life, but
yeah.
she needs that chance.
Yeah, that's why, like, you know, that's what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people are like, why don't you show your private life more? You know, like and I'm like, because I'm ready to kill. I'm ready to die and kill for my daughter, you know, and I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to, you know?
Exactly, man.
So that's what, like, people don't understand. You know, it's like, you know, and I'll teach, you know, one thing about, like, a lot of men are here are lost. You know, and they're lost because they don't believe in God. And I said it, and I keep telling them, like, so many people I talk to have so many problems. Many problems, you know. Before I mention you, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, like, do you believe in God? You know, and your answer is no. It's like, why don't you believe in God? And then 99% of the time is like, oh, because, you know, when I was fucking 15, you know, my mom died. And, when I was this, you know, my dad used to be a drunk and he'll beat me, you know. And it's like, man, God has nothing to do with any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to understand that your old circumstances do not make your new ones. You know, by the time that you're 35, you're a program of your whole life. By the time you're 35 years old, your whole life has been programmed. You have to learn how to break outside of that.
Change the story.
Change the story. And the first thing is faith. Have faith. Then the next thing is working on yourself, looking within you. Like, what do you need to change? Like, if you have one son, okay, two sons, I'm sorry. You have two sons, one drunk father. One is either going to never drink in his life, and the other one's going to be a drunk.
Right.
There's two ways, you know, that you can take things. Just like depression. People are always like, oh, do you ever get depressed? I'm like, I think depression is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've felt it before. You know, I felt like depression is a real thing. It's a thing that, you know, and a lot of men don't come forward with it. Like, oh, I feel depressed, you know, because they feel like it makes them weak.
Right.
But this is the thing about depression. If you have two wolves, you know, and they're constantly fighting, one wolf is depression, one wolf is happiness. You know, which wolf do you think is going to win? The one that you feed. Right? So, yeah, depression is real. That's why you have to, like, feed more to your happiness.
Yeah.
Do more of what makes you happy.
That's right.
And then that's how I look at it. Like, if you don't feed that negative energy, you know, eventually you'll starve and eventually you'll die. Just like any animal. You know, don't feed the negative energy, feed the good energy. You know, I've been there. There's days I wake up negative. And I catch myself and I'm like,
and you have to,
man, I'm like negative today. Like, I need to do something. And I do the most abstract, crazy shit you ever, like, yeah, man, listen, he knows it, like my camera guy, you know. I'll literally wake up one fucking day and say, then tomorrow we're going to fucking Cancun. Or tomorrow we're going to go to fucking Colombia. Or tomorrow we're going to go to New York. Like, it don't matter. Like, it was just yo, I feel like shit. What can I do right now to fix this? You know, and then, like, I'll it doesn't matter how abstract it is. You know, if you wake up one day and you're like, man, you know, I really want to go smoke a cigar in this Fort Lauderdale, you know, like far cigar lounge, and that's going to make me snap out of my negative energy. Just do whatever it takes to snap out of a negative energy. It doesn't matter how abstract, how crazy it sounds. Just do it. Trust me. After you do it, you're gonna be like, wow, like this is the craziest request that my energy has ever made me do.
Right.
But it worked.
Yeah, because you don't want to feel like that. You know, I don't think we hate that feeling. And again, it's just, you know, you always want to fill that gap in with something that's going to give you purpose. I think everything in life needs to be purpose. If you don't have a purpose, you just drown. You just drown in that. And, you know, I always tell people, man, listen, if you don't know your purpose of what you're supposed to do, you know, and that's why I said, like, for me here, and I always mention this, and I'm going to continue mentioning this, we build content. That's what we do, right? We build content for people. But our mission, for me, my personal mission is to present Jesus to people. I know what he has done for me in my life personally. And I always tell people, look, man, don't try to prove that. I can't prove that to you.
So I was going to ask you that. Like, how do you know God's real?
So that's the thing, right? It is something so personal. And every time I try to explain it, and I can give you a Bible study on Revelation, Daniel, prophecy.
Don't matter. It's just words.
Right. They're just words. I can
All
impress
words.
you so much because what's in here is so impressing that it will blow your mind in the sense of how God structured salvation, how God structured us in such a perfect way. It's like, it's amazing if you spend time reading it.
Nothing in the Bible has ever impressed me. Nothing.
So,
but
yeah, go ahead.
There's a reason I'm telling you this. To me, the Bible is just words. Nothing in the Bible has ever impressed me. I get it. There's a lot of good things in the Bible that, like you said, God built us in such a perfect structure that is almost like insane how everything collides and it's like an ecosystem, right? What impressed me and the reason why I believe in God is because God has put me to the test, but at the same time, I've also put him to the test. I've asked for things, not riches, nothing monetary. I've asked him for things that only he can fulfill.
Right.
At a specific timing, right? I'm like, hey, on this time, on this day, like things that specific. Twice in my life has happened. The first time I thought it was a coincidence, but I still chose to believe in God. The second time I was like, okay, there's no coincidence anymore. This is God. People always ask me that, like, why do you believe in God? I'm like, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and I curse more than anybody I think on this planet, and I'm definitely nowhere near perfect in relationships. But one thing I could tell you is like I never lose faith, because he's put me through the test. I've put him through the test. I've asked for specific things, man. And like you said, it's always personal, right?
Yeah.
But things are so specific that it's insane, man. Like he's done it, so.
Yeah, and you said something correct, and I always tell people this. Look, this right here is not something that you can sprinkle on and just say, or have it open in your house like it's going to give you some positive
type
vibes.
Of positive
it doesn't
energy,
work that way. How it works is when you apply the words that are spoken here into practice in your life. It's the same thing, right? You teach me something about trading. If you don't put it into practice, it doesn't work.
Right.
So scripture, and I always tell people this, man, when you look at God, and whenever somebody says, oh, how do you believe in God and stuff like that? And I ask the question, have you spent time reading scripture?
Yeah.
Nah, not really. So think about this. If you get a body of knowledge, and now that body of knowledge, you get everything that you can imagine. Everything, okay? In this bubble.
Right.
It's everything the world has when it comes to knowledge.
Right.
What do you think the percentage is of all that knowledge you know? What do you think it is? Give me a number.
I said 3%.
3%. I'll give you 5%.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5% of all the knowledge out of 100%, you only know 5%.
Easy. Yeah.
Can it be that in that 95% that you don't know, God is in there?
Yeah. 100%.
So that's why, some people, they try to question who's God and what is this and that. Bro, you don't know nothing.
Yeah.
So it's through experience that I know God. And that's why I share it. It's through my experience. I can share my experience, but you have to taste it, my friend.
Yeah, you have to do it yourself. Yeah, it's something that has to be done through experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
So again, man, we can go all day, man. And Alex, man, I'm so pleased with this, with your visit here, man, and to this podcast, man. I know there's a lot that we can talk about. And again, man, where can people find you, man? This guy's super popular, man. Okay, this guy's super popular.
Instagram, just go to Mr.AlexSanti and that's it.
Man.
Reach me there. I always answer DMs and stuff like that. I'm always answering.
That's true, man. He's always on his Instagram.
I'm always on my phone. I'm on my phone like
he takes care of people.
Yeah, I'm always on my phone.
And I know that you just started a course too. Alpha Trader, your other company.
Oh
right?
no, so it's a prop firm. We're funding traders. So like if you're a trader that's just starting out and you need funding, maybe you don't have the capital to throw 100, 200, 300K into an account. You pass our challenge, we'll fund you.
That's awesome. They can get more information. Where can they go to?
AlphaTradersFirm.com.
All right, I'll have that information,
put in the link
guys.
And stuff like that. So, and we're giving away. So right now we're doing a giveaway.
Oh, that's right, man. Talk about it real quick.
So we're giving away a Corvette.
Damn.
So his offers. We're gonna run it through the end of the month. It ends like at the end of February. But for those who are traders and if you're buying challenges right now, if you use our prop firm. we're giving away a Corvette. So
that's super dope, man.
it's gonna be dope. I can't wait.
Damn, man.
You know, I'm excited to give away a car. It's my first car giveaway. You know, I think I might do more after this though.
Oh, that's dope, man. Well, listen, Alex, man, all the success for you, man. May God bless you, man. And again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man.
Appreciate you, man. Love you, man.
Love you too, man.